We will now call the business session of the July 5th, 2022 meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. All council members are present. We welcome all of our guests and visitors and provide an opportunity for the public to address council on any agenda item or during the hearing of visitors portion of the agenda. On items other than public hearings, speakers will be allotted one 3-minute presentation regardless of the number of agenda items the speaker wishes to address. If you're here to speak and have not filled out a registration card, please see the city secretary staff at the registration table outside of the auditorium so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item of business is to consider the minutes of the June 21st, 2022 regular council meeting and the June 29th, 2022 special city council meeting. These minutes were provided in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? No. If there are no further corrections, the minutes stand approved as submitted. And we will now transition to the public hearing of our meeting, which will be led by Clint Peters, the Director of Development Services.
Actually, Mayor, Galen will be presenting the very first item.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you, Jennifer.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is a public hearing to receive comments on the 2022-23 Annual Action Plan prior to submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The City of Waco's Citizen Participation Plan requires that the public that we conduct a public hearing to receive comments on the 2022-23 Annual Action Plan prior to submission to HUD. The Annual Action Plan includes a housing, homeless, and community development needs plan for addressing priority needs and the city's specific plans for use and spending of the 2022-2023 Community Development Block Grant Funds and Home Investment Partnerships Program Funds. The plan will be made available for the public's review from June 17th through July 19th of 2022. The annual action plan will be brought back to council for a second public hearing on July 19th of 2022 and a resolution for approval at the August 2nd City Council meeting. Hard copies have been made available for the public's viewing in the City Secretary's office, the Housing Office, and the public libraries. The notice for this public hearing was published in the non-legal section of the Waco Tribune Herald newspaper, posted on the city's website, posted at the libraries, and on the city's bulletin board. No council action is required at this public hearing.
Are there any questions for staff?
I only have one. Thank you, Galen, for this information. Is there a link that could be shared on social?
Link that we can share on social media, and we'll get that.
Bless you. Okay, because if you put it on the city site, I guess, then we can share it from ours, just to make sure that as many people as possible can get access to the information.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff? I will open a public hearing for comments, and we have one card for this one, and that is Mr. Ephraim Herring. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Ephraim Herring, 1044 Chestnut, Waco, Texas. I've listened to your presentation that was given about this housing plan. The one thing that in all the housing plans I've reviewed, there is nothing in the housing plan to show results. I mean, we're giving out money to all these people, but I don't see, as long as I've been doing business, is you invest and then you see results. I don't see nothing in this plan to show results from the year before, or the year before that, or the year before that, or the year before that. And I know right now we got a housing shortage, but I still don't see anything in the last 7 plans I looked at in doing my 5-year investigation, find anything that shows the results, true results, that you can present to the people. And also too is on getting this notice out, there's a lot of neighborhood associations that we should be connecting on their website. That's all I have to say about that matter.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else here to speak in this public hearing? If not, we'll close the public hearing and move to the next public hearing, which is 2022-411.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving the following subdivision plats. Preliminary plat of the Noble Estates Edition, preliminary plat of the Church Road Estates Edition, and final plat and construction plans of the Chapel Wells Edition. By a vote of 9-0, the Plan Commission recommended that the plats and construction plans be approved.
We will open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Yes.
Yes.
Palmer. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll go to public hearing 2022-412.
Members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a variance to the Waco subdivision ordinance requirement that cul-de-sac length not exceed 600 feet for the proposed subdivision plat entitled Preliminary Plat of the Noble Estates Edition. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended that the variance request be approved in accordance with Section 7.100 of the subdivision ordinance based on the following findings. 1, extraordinary hardship or significant practical difficulties may result from strict compliance with the subdivision ordinance regulations, and the effect of the variance will not be detrimental to public safety, health, welfare, or injurious to other properties. And due to specific conditions of the site involved, strict enforcement of the regulations would not impose an undue hardship on the applicant.
Is there anyone, are there any questions for staff? If not, we'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
Move to approve the variance.
Second. Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Aye. Porterrood.
Yes.
Palmer. Aye. Holmes. Meek.
Yes, the motion carries, and we'll move to public hearing 2022-413.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a variance to the Waco subdivision ordinance requirement that block lengths not exceed 1,000 feet and cul-de-sac lengths not exceed 600 feet for the proposed subdivision plat entitled Preliminary Plat of the Church Road Estates Edition. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended that the variance request be approved in accordance with Section 7.100 of the subdivision ordinance based on the following findings. That extraordinary hardships or significant practical difficulties may result from strict compliance with the subdivision ordinance regulations, and the effect of the variance will not be detrimental to public safety, health, welfare, of injurious to other property, and due to the specific conditions of the site involved, strict enforcement of these regulations would impose an undue hardship on the applicant.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield. Yes. Rodriguez. Aye. Porterrood.
Yes.
Palmer. Aye. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we will move to the consent agenda. The following items have been pulled from the consent agenda: 416, 425, and 431. Is there a motion on Resolution 2022-416? Oh, sorry, there's not. That has been pulled from the agenda altogether. I apologize. 416 has been pulled.
Here, 431 and 416 have just been pulled from the agenda by the manager's office.
461 and 431. Okay, very good. So the only item to be voted on separately is Resolutions 425. Is that correct? Thank you. Is there a motion on Resolution 2022-425?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
We have one card on this item, and that is from Dr. Alan Northcutt.
Alan Northcutt, and you have a handout that has background information. Now, on this resolution concerning this parking garage, it has all the details about the retail shop, shelf space, food and beverage, and hotel lobby, but the EV charging facility is not mentioned at all in writing. And it's been discussed before that apparently there may be EV charging there, but I think it needs to be in writing given the critical nature of having EV charging in 2022. I'd recommend 10% of the spaces have chargers and 40% be EV capable. I think that'd be a good number at this point. I also mentioned RES 431 on my card. So what I wanted to say about that is about, once again, purchasing 34 hybrid vehicles for the police. Now, these have toxic tailpipe emissions, and they do have CO2 emissions. Because they're hybrid, that doesn't mean they're emission-free at all. And I agree with the council person before that said we can certainly purchase one EV at least and get started, on this transition. Your handout shows that police departments around the country are using EVs now, including New York City, some even as patrol vehicles. I feel certain that the police department can find a place for one EV among their different uses of these cars, which are included in the resolution. And I would recommend the Tesla Model Y, a specific car. The price is competitive at $66K, and when you figure in the fuel savings, it comes down to about $59K over 6 years, so it's very competitive. It's an SUV, 330-mile range, all-wheel drive, large cargo space, top speed 135. And the important thing, because of the shortages now, this car is available to order now. Could be delivered January to April, according to the website of Tesla. And this is a well-established, well-proven car, one of the most popular cars on Earth. So I think in the face of the climate crisis, we have the opportunity to at least begin the transition to EVs now versus just continuing to ignore and do business as usual. And it's in your handout, details about that car. I wanted to clarify one point on the sustainability informal report today. The Chevy Bolt it seemed to be criticized there. I want to make it clear, the fires only happened in about 17 vehicles. It wasn't widespread. The rate of fires in EVs is less than that in ICE cars, when you look at it that way. The statement was in the handout. Quote, the appropriate replacement batteries have still not been available to the dealers, end quote. That is not true. I've had my battery replaced last year. 2 of my friends have as well. So the Bolt is there. It's a great car. The battery can be replaced. Thank you.
Back to Resolution 2022-425. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this? And what I would just say is it's my understanding that staff is looking at how to incorporate EV sites into this development, and would just encourage them to continue to look at that mindfully and according to our sustainability plan.
Right.
And the nature of this is just to approve the construction manager, not to approve the project.
Any other discussion? Please poll the council.
Fairfield. Rodriguez. Aye. Borderoux. Borderoux's disqualified, sorry. Palmer. Aye. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to the consent agenda, which includes Resolution 2022-413 through 434, with the exception of 416, 431, and 425. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Aye. Borderoux.
Yes.
Palmer. Aye. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes. Carries. And our next item is Ordinance 2022-436.
435.
I apologize.
An ordinance appointing Dan Francis as acting judge of the municipal court of the city of Waco, Texas, to serve temporarily effective August 1st, 2022, until an appointment of the municipal judge. Determining the pay of the acting municipal judge, appointing a qualified person to serve for the acting judge during temporary absences, repealing all ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, providing for an effective date, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed and open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Borderoad.
Yes.
Palmer. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2022-436.
An ordinance granting to Encore Electric Delivery Company LLC, its successors and assigns, an electric power franchise to use the present and future streets, alleys, highways, public utility easements, public ways, and public property of the city of Waco, Texas, providing for compensation therefore, providing for an effective date and a term of said franchise, providing for written acceptance of this franchise, providing for the repeal of all existing franchise ordinances to Encore Delivery Company LLC, its predecessors and assigns, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on June 21st, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Borderoad.
Yes.
Palmer. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2022-437.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending the concept plan, the Planned Unit Development PUD, known as the Saddle Creek PUD, located along the north side of China Spring Road, east of Saddle Creek Road, to allow climate-controlled self-storage facilities in a portion of area previously designated for office and commercial use, and to change a portion of area previously designated as multifamily residential use to office use, adding a 0.047 acre tract of land of the James Lane Survey, abstract number 531, being a part of a 39.01 acre tract to the PUD, rezoning the 0.047 acre tract from R1B to PUD, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on June 21st, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Borderoad.
Yes.
Palmer. Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. The next item to consider is ordinance 2022-438.
Ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending the concept plan of the Planned Unit Development PUD, known as the Dwyer Group PUD, located at 317 Bosque Boulevard, said property being described as Lot 3, Block 1, Dwyer Addition, to add 2 parcels of land to the PUD, said parcels being described as Lot 6 and 7, Block 1, Davalore Addition, known as 300 and 304 David Drive, Lots 6 and 7. 2, to otherwise revise the concept plan of the PUD to allow additional parking area and rezone the parcels, Lots 6 and 7, from R2 to PUD. Providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on June 21st, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on first reading. Second.
Any discussion?
Second reading, sorry.
Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Borderoad.
Yes.
Palmer. Holmes. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2022-439.
An ordinance abandoning 2 approximately 0.117 acre tracts, being a 65-foot wide portion of the right-of-way of South 21st Street between Block 17 and Block 10, Glenwood Addition, to the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, as per plat of said addition, recorded in Volume 69, page 91 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas. Finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on June 21st, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval. Second reading. Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Borderoad.
Yes.
Palmer. Holmes. Meek.
Yes, the motion carries, and the next agenda item to consider is ordinance 2022-440.
An ordinance amending various sections in Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, for the purposes of adding a definition for house museum, allowing house museum as a special permit use in R1A, R1B, R1C, R2, R3A, R3B, R3C, R3D, and R3E zoning districts. allowing house museum as a permitted use in the O1, O2, O3, C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5 zoning districts, providing parking requirements for such use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed, open the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on June 29th, 2022.
Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Borderood,
Yes.
Palmer, Holmes,
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2022-441.
An ordinance approving a purchase and sales agreement with McLennan County, Texas for the sale of city-owned fee simple property located at 1211 Washington Avenue, Waco, McLennan County, Texas, which is the site of a municipal building, further described as being a 0.284-acre tract of land, being part of the T.J. Chambers Grant Abstract Number 7 in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, and being a part of Farm Lot 21 according to the plan of the original town of Waco, and being Lot 4 and the southwesterly half of Lot 3 and Block 6 of the subdivision of said farm, Lot 21, as per plat recorded in Volume U, page 63 of the McLennan County, Texas deed records, and being that same property conveyed to the city by warranty deed dated January 10th, 1991, and recorded at Volume 1709, page 296 of the deed records in McLennan County, Texas, including an approximately 8,468 square foot and other improvements, together with all improvements thereon and all rights and interests appurtenant thereto, including all of the city's rights, title, and interest in and to adjacent streets, alleys, rights of way, and any adjacent strips and gores of real estate to McLennan County, Texas, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Chapters 253 and 272, for the sales price of $635,100, approving the expenditure of an amount not to exceed $10,000 for closing fees and other expenses associated with the sale of the property, approving the sale of the property, authorizing the city manager to execute the conveyance and to execute any documents in connection therewith, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, providing a savings clause, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Borderood, Palmer, Holmes, Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to ordinance 2022-442.
An ordinance approving a purchase and sales agreement with McLennan County, Texas for the sale of city-owned fee simple property located at 415 Columbus Avenue, Waco, McLennan County, Texas, which is the site of a municipal building, further described as a 1.423-acre tract of land, described as Block A, Lot 1 of the Waco Transit Addition to the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, including an approximately 11,676 square foot building, together with all improvements thereon and all rights and interests appurtenant thereto, including all the city's rights, title, and interest in and adjacent to the streets, alleys, rights of way, and any adjacent strips and gores of real estate to McLennan County, Texas, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Chapters 253 and 272, for the sales price of $371,915, approving the expenditure of an amount not to exceed $8,000 for closing fees and other expenses associated with the sale of the property, approving the sale of the property, authorizing the city manager to execute the conveyance and to execute any documents in connection therewith, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, providing a savings clause, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Borderood,
Yes.
Palmer, Holmes,
Aye.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. And the next item on the agenda is the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. Council is unable to conduct discussion, but we will listen, ask staff to look into concerns, provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. I have two cards here today, and the first one is Mr. Ephraim Herring.
name is Ephraim Herring. I live at 1044 Chestnut. In accordance with the City of Waco Chapter Charter, Article 2, Council Section 6, Investigation Body, page 12, I am requesting an investigation into the action and decision made from January 3rd, 2001 through July of 2022 by City of Waco Department and the City of Waco Housing Partner, NeighborWorks Waco, neighborhood housing services, causing direct harm to the family and owners of the property at 1044 Chestnut and 1046 Chestnut. I'm also requesting a quick and safe resolution to the unapproved by the City of Waco engineering specifications, dangerous and hazardous drive approach installed in the alleyway by the City of Waco Public Works Department on May 15, 2018. The dangerous drive approach concrete structure is located between 1046 Chestnut and 1056 Chestnut in alleyway. This drive approach is a hazard to the safety of residents walking and driving. I have come to the council August 1st, 2017 to address the matter at 1046 Chestnut. I've come to your managers. They have failed as of July 5th, 2022 at 1830 to resolve the problem at 1046 Chestnut. Your inspection department has yet to provide me documentation to show that the government record that is used by NeighborWorks Waco to withdraw $27,000 out of my account is valid. I'm asking for an investigation here, and I'm moving up. $27,000 has broken my business. The structures I have to do to 1046 Chestnut to make it in the standards has broken my business. I am asking for an investigation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. The next card we have is from Mr. Brent McCain.
Hello, I'm Brent McCain. Please excuse my shaky voice and my shaky walk. I just 1 week post-stroke. I'm here to address the City Council, and I appreciate you letting me speak today on an item. I've been submitting some public information requests to the City of Waco Police Department for the release of 911 calls in regards to the young lady who lost her life May the 7th on I-35. In particular, I received a letter from Mr. Will Conrad addressing the mother of the deceased, using the mother of the deceased to prevent the public from knowing the truth, from acquiring these 911 calls, because it was reported there were a number of 911 calls reporting this young lady walking in the middle of the interstate. But to invoke the mother of the deceased and make her a party of this is reprehensible in my eyes. Not much more to say about that other than it's just despicable. Secondly, I don't have any documentation today. I wasn't even prepared to come to this meeting until I heard about it earlier. But your 30-7 sign preventing open carry of handguns, I've gone through this with Bruce Valetti City Council. Cannot post those. I understand that the Texas Municipal League is saying otherwise, but it's pretty clear in the legislation, the Texas Penal Code, and the Open Records Act, I believe it's the Open Meetings Act, I'm sorry, that you can't post those. The only one you can post is the 30-5 for unlicensed carry or constitutional carry. I've been a very big gun advocate for many years. I've testified in the Texas legislature on a number of occasions, and I do have information that I would be glad to email to anybody, to the City Council and to the city attorneys. That unfortunately it's not, I mean, it's a little confusing, but if you go through the different sections, it's in black and white. But out of courtesy and, well, I don't care to be arrested, I have concealed my handgun. But I appreciate, again, you listening to me, but it really hurts that, I have a small YouTube channel, and I've posted some things regarding this incident on May 7th, and I have blocked out, withheld everybody's name, the victim, the deputy's name, and to invoke the mother in this is reprehensible in my eyes. Thank you very kindly. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. McCain. Because this matter was not posted on our agenda, state law prohibits us from responding, but we'll have staff look into this.
I understand. Thank you very kindly.
Is there anyone else here to speak during our hearing of visitors? If not, we will close the hearing of visitors. And I'll ask if there are any council member reports on committees, boards, commission, liaison visits.
Mayor, my exploratory trip to the Fourth on the Brazos was successful yesterday, along with several here on the dais. Wanted to again give kudos to Jonathan Cook and the Parks team. Absolutely glorious night, beautiful music, and just a successful finale to a wonderful season of Brazos nights. So glad to see that's back.
Anything else? There being no further business, we will adjourn at 6:31 p.m. Thanks, everybody.